Okay. Woo! Dude, how crazy would it be if Dricus were to come out to Sister Bettina?
In the meantime,
Like, Adesanya is just fucking chilling there and it's just and he's just got this look of fear on his face. Like, he's just like, fuck, I'm here. I just hope he doesn't come out to Nkalagat. That would fuck my shit up, dude. Rather come out to like Kurt Darren's Captain.
yeah.
Kaptein, Spandy Sailor.
Then come out to Nkalagata. Like, nobody wants that shit. Nobody needs any of that.
We didn't have our flag.
Oh, we don't have shit, bro. We're terrible South Africans. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for another episode of INCS on MMA, and today we are doing UFC 305.
Yeah, woo! The battle for Africa, baby. Let's go.
There has never been such a monumentous battle to occur in the continent of Africa since the Rumble in the Jungle. Not since Muhammad Ali graced the jungles of the Congo have we ever seen such a monumentous African affair. This is Nigeria versus South Africa.
Jokes aside, this is a huge fight for Africa. Like, oh my god, I cannot wait. And if Dricus wins this, hey, bro, we could be looking at UFC South Africa. But, whew, okay, let's break down this card and let's break down which is a good fight, which is a bad fight, and which is, yeah.
Now, immediately when we go into this one, this title fight right here, we have Dricus Du Plessis, who is now our current middleweight champion. He's undefeated in the UFC at the moment. He has just come off of that great tactical victory against Sean Strickland, and he's coming up against the person who people are calling one of the greatest middleweight champions in history. Even though Anderson Silva is a person who has lived in this world, he's breathed.
True, but they do say he's breathed in this world. He has lived, he has existed. No, but they do say one of the best, bro, and I can't argue with him there. Israel Adesanya, despite all the cringy shit that comes out of his mouth, he is one of the greatest fighters and one of the best kickboxers to ever do it. You know, let's be real. There is so much to unpack with this fight. Despite all the beef and all the crap between these two, stylistically, this is going to be a very interesting fight where it could be over in a flash. It
100%.
really could. You've got Dricus with his heavy, stocky build and his eyes, like the perfect way I've heard described as a gorilla on roller skates. He looks sloppy, he looks ugly, but he's still a gorilla and he's going to knock you the fuck out, okay? But Israel Adesanya is the king of the counter game. That lean back and counter is so good, you know? And every time he throws it, he's just going straight for your temple. And I'm worried that if Dricus comes with that rushing forward tactic that he does, all Izzy needs to do is one good clip and he's down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
like
it's
you
scary.
say, Dricus is known for having this weird herky-jerky kind of style where he's throwing punches and sometimes even switching stance in the middle of throwing those punches.
Yeah.
Now, Israel Adesanya, when he switches stance, it's very deliberate.
Yeah.
It's very deliberate and it's very clean. Now, this man is known as the style bender, largely due to what he accomplished in kickboxing and early on in his middleweight title run. However, we have noticed that when the going gets really tough, he simplifies his striking style a lot so that he can get that W.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah.
We noticed this a lot with fights like when he fought Yoel Romero,
Yeah, yes.
the fight against Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
Now, there are examples of him being exciting and interesting, like his second fight against Alex Pereira. And for example, the great KO he got against Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we're going to see that version of Israel Adesanya, because that version did not show up when Sean Strickland was in front of him.
100%. A lot of people like to point out that Izzy is the best when he's on the back foot, or like case in point, if he's the challenger. You know, people are saying maybe he just got too comfortable. There was a personal story going on with him by himself with the Strickland fight. We can all agree that wasn't his best. Israel Adesanya has never looked that bad before, so clearly something was wrong. And him coming as a challenger, we've seen it puts that dog in him. It makes him angry. It makes him like, oh, he wants it. But Dricus is just a hard man, and he's not stupid. I think how this is going to go personally is going to be a lot of exciting vibes on the feet, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to be scrapping every time Izzy clips him. I think Dricus is just going to go for a takedown and just go, just rely on that Because Dricus is a big guy. He can smother. Yeah, Izzy's tall, but people actually don't realize how big Dricus actually is.
Yeah.
He's a huge man. So I think they're going to be getting into scraps, getting into trading fists, and the moment Dricus gets hurt, I think he's just going to go play it safe, go for clinch, smother, get some ground control, get some sort of control, you know?
So I agree with what you're saying there. When I look at Dricus Du Plessis in this fight, I feel like he's going to be taking this one on almost like a dangerous Bilal Muhammad. All right?
Yes.
If you look at Dricus's fight history, back when he was in the EFC, he was known for his amazing submission skills. When he became the double champ in EFC, it was off of a guillotine choke. So now he's gone to Thailand throughout his career. He's trained up that striking. His style is super weird, but it is very effective. However, he has that skill set that he can go back to. And he has proven that his grappling does work within this division. He was able to take down Robert Whittaker. He was able to submit Darren Till. He was able to take down other opponents that he's fought. And Israel Adesanya, when he is put on his back by somebody who is heavier than him, like in the Jan Blachowicz fight, he stays there.
Yeah.
So I feel like with Dricus as well, I don't know, with the power, with the finishing ability he has on the feet and on the ground, stylistically for me, it just feels like he has more tools to be able to get it done.
Yeah. But the thing is he the type of fighter where, hey, he can just, he can pull a rabbit out of a hat. He really can. And another thing to point out with this fight is everyone's going off of Dricus's last fight because, you know, you're only as good as your last fight. And despite what you think whether Dricus won or Strickland won, the fight wasn't that entertaining as what we expected. And a lot of people are calling Dricus, oh, he's a snooze fest and blah, blah, blah. But Dricus in his 22, 23 wins has a 90% finish rate. That's like one of his only 2 decisions in his entire career, okay? So stop looking at his last fight and go look at his whole history. Up until that Strickland fight, he was almost the underdog in every UFC fight and he won them all. He knocked out Trevin Giles, he submitted Darren Till, he beat up Derek Brunson, he knocked out Bobby Knuckles. I mean, how much more does he need to do to just shut up all the naysayers, you know what I mean?
Also, Sean Strickland is the decisionator.
He is. He talks a lot of shit, but he's a decisionator.
He was built in the lab to win decisions. Him and Bilal are just floating like Goku.
Floating next to each other. Tube.
All right. And moving on to our next bout that we have a flyweight bout in our co-main. It is Kai Kara France going up against Steve Erceg.
Oh, Michael Scott. Now this one surprised me. I wasn't expecting him to go New Zealand versus Australia so quickly. I thought Erceg was going to fight someone closer to his number, and I thought Kara France was going to be fighting up. But this stylistically, wow, this is a very, very interesting fight. Okay, so just to break it down a little bit, Kara France, he did not fight last year. His last fight was 2022, where he lost to Aliyah Dabaliz. No, that's not his name. Fuck, what's his name?
Amir Al-Basi.
They threw me off there. Okay, he fought Amir, and personally I thought he won, but unfortunately he lost that. Steve Erceg is coming off of that very interesting title fight against Pantoja. And stylistically, I think this fight is incredible and also incredibly difficult. They both have an extremely similar style of fighting. They prefer to stay on the feet. They prefer to throw. Erceg's got more of a boxing style. Kara France is more of an all-round mixed martial artist. Erceg does seem
more of an all-round kickboxer.
Yeah, that's actually fair. Thank you. Yeah.
A motherfucker ain't never shot for no takedowns.
Yeah, I was about to say. Erceg can shoot for takedowns if he needs to, but he usually doesn't want to. He prefers to just destroy on the feet. I don't see this going the distance, but I don't know who's going to win it. I'll be honest with you, man.
100%. As you say, when we look at this fight right here, Steve Erceg is coming off of that great battle with Alexander Pantoja.
Yeah, man.
Where he would have won that fight if he had greater fight IQ.
And he proved his hands.
Exactly. Oh. He proved his hands, but he kept on trying to go to the ground against Pantoja, who just had better wrestling than him and kept on sweeping him and getting into solid positions.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at Kai Kara France, he's the type of guy who's got deadly, deadly hands, okay? And he has this amazing overhand that he often throws against his opponents. However, when you look at that fight against Amir Al-Bansi, and specifically when you look at the loss before to Brandon Royale, his problem has always been his grappling.
True.
When he's going up against mid-level guys, he'll always be able to defend the takedown and be in a solid position. But against truly high-level grapplers like Brandon Royale, he's in a situation.
No,
Steve Erceg has shown like sparks of having really good submissions, like in his fight prior to the KO of Matt Schnelly, where he got that submission win by rear naked choke.
Yeah.
However, we haven't seen him effectively use it against really high-level fighters. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup for that kind of reason. I do believe that Kai Kara-France is better on the feet. However, I think Steve Erceg, with that grappling, with the ability to put it all together, he's a more well-balanced fighter.
True. And like you said, look, Steve Erceg, even in the Pantoja fight, while he didn't show a lot of like takedown-wise, his ground defense was pretty good. Every time Pantoja had him on the ground, he was being very technical. You know, he knew what was going on. He was stopping those submission attempts. And going back on what you said, the Kai Kara-France, before the Amir fight, there was I forgot the guy's name, but he fought specifically a wrestler style. And the whole first round, the wrestler just took Kai down and was just smothering him. And then he adjusted well in the second. And so he adjusted well in the second. And then by the end of that third round, the guy couldn't get a takedown because Kai had adjusted perfectly and was stuffing every takedown. So he's definitely showed improvements after the Brandon Royval fight and during Amir. It has been over a year and a half since he fought, so hopefully he's not a stupid guy. He's very dedicated to the sport. So I think he's been doing a lot to prepare himself for grapplers and all those types. But I don't see it going the distance. I don't even think Steve's gonna shoot a takedown. I think he's just gonna stand, bro. But yeah.
All right, and moving on to a lightweight bout that we have on the card. It is Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan the Hangman Hooker.
Personally, in my opinion, do not bet on this fight, okay? Because nobody knows who's going to win. You got Dan Hooker, the Hangman, who just fights for the love of it, and Mateusz Gamrot is probably the most inconsistent, skilled lightweight fighter in the entire division. The guy goes from making Arman Sarukian look like his bitch to getting knocked out by Benil and just losing to terrible people. And then he knocked out Fiziev, which God, he's just up and down. And then Dan Hooker is an extremely all-round mixed martial artist, and he's just a sturdy man. He's too sturdy for his own good. And yo, dude, this fight, poof.
I think this one right here is going to be the most technical bar fight you've ever seen.
Yes. Yes.
There's going to be two gentlemen who they really go into that fight with that bravado, that energy of I want to win, I want to beat you. They're always going to be going at each other. And even in Mateusz's losing affairs, he's bringing it.
Yeah.
Now, as we say, the issue with Mateusz Gamrot is he has all of these incredible skills and he's beaten great people, but sometimes his fight IQ has been shown to not be super great against the elite guys.
Yeah.
The issues with Dan Hooker is that he has incredible fight IQ, but his skill set has not matched him. Now, you see this because he has the ability to defeat great fighters. And he has the ability to get out of really, really, really difficult situations.
Oh, yeah.
Even in his losses, you can see his perseverance. His loss against Edson Barboza, which would have killed him.
That Dustin Poirier fight is one of the best lightweight fights to have ever happened in the history of the sport. Let's be real.
Oh my gosh. And then when he came back from his knee being fully exposed by the knee bar kick, where it was fully at his edge, and he just stayed calm, stuck with it, and carried on. And lastly, like you were saying before, that Jalen Turner fight, where it was like he was getting his ass kicked in the first round, second and third, he switched it on, and he changed the entire trajectory of the match. So he's such a good fighter, especially on the feet, in terms of piecing things together and setting guys up. But he's never, I don't know, it's like fill the void. Yeah. I want to see you throw an armbar.
So to add to that, now Dan Hooker, going off what you said there, Dan did have a bit of a rough patch, but he has said that during that rough patch, he was making his own decisions and he didn't have a manager and he was going off on his own, hence the whole going down a weight class and trying new things. And since he's got with a proper team and he's got a manager again, he's looked good his last two fights, 2 wins, okay? Yeah. Now, Mateusz Gamrot, if I'm going to compare both of them because they both fought Jalen Turner recently. Mateusz Gamrot, it was his second most recent fight. Dan Hooker was his most recent fight. Now, Mateusz Gamrot in that fight showed that against a tall guy, he struggles. He was struggling to close the gap. He was struggling to deal with Jalen Turner's distance. Now, granted, Jalen Turner's an exception in the lightweight division. He is 6'3" with super long arms. But Mateusz Gamrot's 5'10" and Dan Hooker's 6'1". There's still a difference, okay? And now Mateusz Gamrot in that fight, I personally think the only reason he beat Jalen Turner is because Jalen's IQ was terrible in the last 2 rounds, and he gave him submission attempts that, he let Mateusz take him down, and then Mateusz just sat on top of him for the rest of the round. Dan Hooker's IQ, I think, is too smart for that, and I think when Dan's got him hurt, because Jalen Turner showed Mateusz Gamrot can get hurt so quickly and so easily. His chin's not amazing, and I think Dan's gonna hurt him. Mateusz's gonna shoot for a takedown, and a lot of them are very obvious. And I think hopefully Dan's IQ will help him defend. I think on paper Mateusz Gamrot's got this, but I honestly think Dan might take it. I think if he stuffs the takedowns, if he's smart with his defense, and he just throws hands like he did against Jalen, he'll take it.
Okay, interesting. Moving on to a heavyweight bout that we have, it is Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Big Baby Rozenstruik.
Big Baby?
Yeah, he's Big Baby.
It's Biggie Boy.
Who the fuck is Big Baby?
I don't know, you told me.
That's amazing.
That's Biggie Boy.
That's amazing.
Big Baby.
Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rozenstruik.
This one ain't leaving the first round, bro. Not a chance.
Or it's gonna suck. It's either not leaving the first round, or we're gonna watch two very tired men in the third round.
I don't think so, hey? I don't think so. So, to break it down a bit, look, Tuivasa, Bam Bam, you know him, you love him. He does shuris, and he's just there to, he's like the best bar fighter in the entire UFC, let's be real. Unfortunately, having a bit of a rough skid, 4-fight losing streak at the moment, especially after coming off like a 5-6 fight win streak that took him to number 3 on the heavyweight. He had a title contender fight, it was amazing. And now he's unfortunately they keep giving him like wrestlers and guys good on the ground. He's been submitted like 2 or 3 of his last 4. So he hasn't been looking too good. Rozenstruik, however, is a very interesting fighter. He always wins one, loses one. Wins one, loses one. He's always up, down, up, down. He came off a loss to Jailton Almeida, who just smothered him for 5 rounds. And then they gave him the new up-and-comer, I forget his name, Shamil Gaziev. Shamil Gaziev was a 12-fight undefeated streak, was bigger than Rozenstruik, like just height-wise, body-wise, but Rozenstruik just stuffed every takedown and then broke his nose until he quit on the stool. So Rozenstruik's looking very, very good. Tuivasa is not looking too good, but the thing is, Ty's not going to shoot for a takedown, ever. He's going to stand and bang, and Rozenstruik's getting a bit old. These guys are actually both a bit on the older side. Like, I don't know, man. I see them just, they're going to clash and someone's going to drop, bro, in the first round.
So for me, at this current stage in Tuivasa's career, I worry about the damage that he has taken in previous fights, and more than the damage that he has taken in previous fights, I worry about his motivations and where his mind is right now. Tuivasa has recently opened a bunch of new companies.
True.
He's been doing very well in business outside of MMA, and this has all coincided at around the same time as he's been having all of these losses.
I get that, sure.
Jairzinho, on the other hand, he's looking revitalized. He's looking like a different guy. Ooh, yeah. I don't think Jairzinho is going to break into the top 5. I don't think he's going to do that.
No.
I think he's happy doing what he's doing now. He's getting his fight night main events. He's getting paid well. He's creating like a name for himself.
Yeah.
And being like a good ambassador for Suriname. Now, when we go into this stylistically, we've got 2 solid kickboxers. Tuivasa, I think, has the better striking. Jairzinho, though, has really good head kicks as well, the body kicks.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen that Jairzinho can get his lights taken out. Like, we've seen him get knocked out by the likes of Francis Ngannou. However, we've also seen him maintain that power all the way into the later stages of a fight.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when he fought Alistair Overeem and he got that buzzer beater kind of KO.
Oh, yeah.
So, for me, I'm edging a little bit here on Jairzinho's side. However, Tuivasa is more than capable of shutting me up and just knocking Jairzinho right out.
He's one of those guys, one hit on the temple and it could just be over. Yeah, and then moving on to the opener of our main card is a very, very interesting fight. We have China's Jingliang versus Carlos Prates for a welterweight bout. Now, But this one, okay, now this one on paper doesn't sound very interesting. However, let me just unpack some stuff here. Carlos here is coming off of Dana White's Contender Series. I think it was 2 seasons ago, where he had one of the best knockouts of the season. So he's coming off, he's had 2 fights in the UFC. He's won both by knockout. He has over 20 professional fights and over 100 Muay Thai fights.
Oh my God.
The man is a proper Muay Thai fighter. He lived in Thailand for 5 years. He was doing that whole thing where like you fight 5 times in a night, you know, after watching his fights, he is an incredibly strong and sturdy individual. He's very tall and lean for the welterweight division. He's got a bit of a Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira type of build where it's like, you can just see if he wanted to, he could just put on a lot of weights and go up to middleweight and be totally fine. He's tall, he's lanky, he's got that standard Muay Thai stance, and he's just very, very strong. However, his past 2 opponents have been very just newcomers. Trevin Giles is not that good, let's be real. I forgot the name of his recent opponent, but he's also fresh in the UFC. Lee, on the other hand, is one of the best veterans in the sport. This guy is just perfectly well-rounded in terms of MMA. He knows how to stay calm, he knows how to stay cool, and he's never been knocked out in the sport. So, I think this is definitely, I don't think this is going to go to decision, but I think this is a fight that people shouldn't be sleeping on. It's going to be a lot of heavy hits going on in this one.
See, this one, exactly as you said, it's not cut and dry at all.
Yeah, dude.
Carlos Prates is coming off of that great knee KO that he recently got.
That's... Ooh.
Where he just boom, and he was completely in control, and it almost felt like he was just saying, screw it, I'm gonna win now.
He literally threw a left, he grabbed him with the right hand, he grabbed his wrist, and just threw a heavy left, and then just literally looked at his opponent, went, woo, and then just kneed him in the liver, down, dropped.
It was just like, this fight is over, and he knew that the fight was over.
Scramble.
Now, at the same time, if you look at the Leech's current, most recent fights, his last KO that he got was against Muslim Salikov, who is also an up-and-coming striker who had great technical ability, and he ended up knocking Muslim Salikov out.
Yes.
I do not believe that Muslim Salikov is of the same level of striker as Carlos, because I've also seen Li Jingliang struggle against strikers who, like against Daniel Rodriguez, there was a bit of a weight issue there.
There was, yeah.
That was definitely a factor in it. So I really wonder about this one. I'm still leaning towards Carlos' side because 100 Muay Thai fights is not a joke. And the Leech is not going to shoot a takedown.
No, he's not. He's definitely not. But look, and what you said before with Muslim, he's a very powerful kickboxer. And in that fight, he showed the speed of his kicks, and Lee showed that he can handle his speed. But like you said, this guy, he's from Dagestani, so he did throw a couple of takedowns in there. And even when he used his power, like even when he had the strength to pick up Lee and throw, like literally pick him up off his feet and put him down, Lee still managed to get out of it, get off his back and get to his feet. So I know obviously Carlos is not going to shoot, but it just shows you that even when they're bigger than him, even when they're on top of him, Lee can still just, his cardio and his physique as well is definitely going to help him in this fight. Like I think Carlos shouldn't underestimate Lee, because Carlos got that, again, like that just Brazilian, just long, fit guy. But Lee's conditioning is something else, bro. He's very, very serious about it, and he just takes it so professionally. But yeah, I don't see any takedowns being shot, but I see Carlos walking down Lee, trying to push him up against the cage and trying to get that left hook, because Carlos does have a mean left.
100%.
But I think Lee might just be a little bit too smart and know how to get out of those situations, eh? Yeah.
All right, and that is another episode of INCS on MMA. We just broke down UFC 305.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
South Africa truckers!
Let's get it.
Just have to do the one. Just the one. I have to be biased. Hometown, my boy, rooting for you, man. You got this, baby.
Place Captain. Captain. The episode finishes. Woo!
Oh, stuff that up. Do better next time, please. Wait, God.
Get your shit together.
I'm just trying to start. Okay.
This is good for me. That's why I'm shit.
God damn it, Connor. Dude, just be better.
Okay. Woo. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Got the smoothest vocals bringing you undercover. We're talking podcasts that'll make you sway. See Pierre and Sheldon in the game they slay.